You were born with a voice. Not just the voice that makes sound through your throat, but the voice of your soul, a tone, a truth, a divine song that lives in the marrow of your being. Before the world told you who to be, before you learned to perform, to please, to protect yourself, you lived in the purity of that voice. You sang your truth without hesitation. You laughed without apology. You wept without shame. You moved through the world like light, unfiltered, unbroken, unafraid. And then something shifted. It didn't happen all at once. The silencing comes slowly, subtly. One moment, you are coloring outside the lines, and someone says, stay inside them. Another moment, you are dancing freely in the kitchen, and someone calls it too much. Another moment, you speak your truth raw, unrefined, honest, and someone flinches, turns away, or worse, withdraws their love. And so you begin to shrink. Not because you want to, but because you think you have to be safe, to be liked, to be accepted, to belong. You begin to trade authenticity for approval. You start sculpting a self that will be digestible to the world, forgetting that your soul was never meant to be swallowed whole by someone else's comfort zone. You learn to wear masks so well that even your own reflection forgets the face underneath. You silence the parts of you that are too bold, too loud, too intuitive, too passionate. You swallow your truths like bitter seeds and call it maturity. You learn to dim the divine fire that once lit up your spirit, afraid that its brilliance will burn someone else's eyes. But the truth, the real, holy, undeniable truth is this. You were never meant to be edited. You were meant to be expressed. You were never meant to perform for belonging. You were meant to embody the divine. You see, there is no version of peace that requires you to betray your inner voice. There is no true acceptance worth having if it demands the rejection of your soul. There is no lasting joy that comes from hiding your light to comfort another's shadow. And so I invite you here and now, in this sacred moment of remembrance, to reclaim the voice you silenced to be accepted. Not because you are trying to be rebellious, but because you are ready to be real. Because your silence has cost you your wholeness. Because your compliance has come at the price of your aliveness. Because pretending to be someone you're not is a slow spiritual death, and your soul did not come here to die that way. You came here to live fully, loudly, freely, divinely. And that begins by listening for the sound beneath the silence, the whisper of the self, you buried beneath politeness, perfectionism, and the desperate need to be loved. That voice, it never left. It's been waiting for you to choose it over them, waiting for you to realize that you are not here to be liked, you are here to be light, waiting for you to fall in love with your own truth more than you fear their rejection. That voice is your soul, and it speaks not in fear, but in freedom. Not in conformity, but in courage, not in performance, but in presence. And when you listen to it, something ancient and holy awakens in you, a remembrance of your original self, uncorrupted by ego, untouched by shame. When you speak from this place, even if your words tremble, the universe stands still to hear you. Because your voice, your real voice, is not just yours. It is God speaking through form. It is the divine echo of the infinite. It is the breath of the Creator finding its way back through your lungs. And that voice was never meant to be silenced. Not for love, not for approval, not for safety, not even for survival. Because what you silence to survive, you must one day resurrect to live. Let today be that resurrection. Let this moment be the quiet revolution of reclaiming your voice. Let the walls you built for acceptance become doors through which your truth re-enters the world. You do not need to scream. You do not need to fight. You simply need to stop apologizing for existing. Speak. Even if your voice shakes, live. Even if you are misunderstood, express. Even if no one claps, because the reward of reclaiming your voice is not applause, it is alignment. It is the joy of no longer splitting yourself to be tolerated. It is the peace of coming home to yourself without permission or explanation. You are not here to be a puppet pulled by invisible strings of societal expectation. You are not here to be a mannequin dressed in acceptable opinions. You are not here to be a mirror reflecting what others want to see. You are here to be a portal through which the divine experiences itself raw, real, radiant, and that requires your voice. Not the voice the world trained you to use, but the voice that was born with you, the one that knows things before your mind catches up, the one that feels truth in your bones, the one that sings even when your lips are closed. Yes, that voice. It is time to unmute your spirit, because what you suppress does not disappear. It becomes suffering. It becomes anxiety. It becomes resentment. It becomes a quiet ache that whispers, there's more, and there is more. More of you to be lived, more truth to be spoken, more light to be released. You are not too much. You are not too loud. You are not too sensitive. You are not too anything. You are simply returning to your original design, the unedited soul, before the world asks you to shrink. And the world needs that version of you. Not because it will make everyone comfortable, but because it will make you whole. You did not come here to be accepted by the world. You came here to accept yourself so deeply that the world has no choice but to meet you at your level of truth. And if it doesn't, let it fall away. Let it dissolve. Let it exit. Because anything you had to betray yourself to keep was never aligned with your destiny. Reclaim your voice and watch as what is meant for you begins to recognize you again. There is a sacred intelligence within you that has never forgotten who you truly are. It has watched patiently from behind your compromises and beneath your politeness. It has witnessed the moments when you nodded in agreement to things that bruised your spirit. It has felt your hesitation when your truth rose like a wave only to be swallowed again by the fear of what others might think. But even then, it never judged you. It simply waited. Waited like the moon waits for night, knowing it will inevitably rise, because your truth cannot be erased, only postponed. And postponement is not peace. It is a slow erosion of authenticity, a wearing away of the divine pattern you came here to live. Every time you choose comfort over clarity, something ancient within you tightens. Not because you failed, but because your soul came here to expand. And contraction, though familiar, is not your home. There comes a moment, quiet but undeniable, when the ache of not living your truth becomes louder than the fear of being seen. That moment is not a breakdown, it is a breakthrough. It is the soul breaking through the concrete of conditioning, gasping for the air of its own expression. It is not the end of you, it is the return. And when you begin to return to your voice, it does not arrive all at once. It is not a sudden explosion. It is a gentle unfolding, like the first breath after holding it too long. Like a melody you forgot you knew, softly playing behind the noise of other people's expectations. You do not need to shout to reclaim it. You need only to listen, to make space, to remember. The voice you silenced is not angry with you. It is wise. It is patient. It knows why you hid. It knows why you traded expression for safety. It knows what you were trying to protect. And yet, it also knows you are ready now. Not because the world will approve of your authenticity, but because your soul can no longer survive its absence. When you begin to speak from this place, your words carry more than sound. They carry presence. They carry clarity. They carry the weightlessness of truth that no longer needs validation. And it is not just your life that changes the frequency of your being, shifts the room around you. You begin to realize that authenticity is not just a gift to yourself. It is a permission slip to others. The more you live out loud, the more you liberate those around you. Not because you convince them, but because you remind them of what they forgot inside themselves. Your reclamation becomes a reflection. Your voice becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, others begin to see the outlines of their own silenced truths waiting to be set free. But be prepared. Not everyone will celebrate your return to yourself. Some have learned to love only the mask. They have built a relationship with your silence, not your essence. And when you begin to speak, to stretch, to glow, they may shrink back. That is not a sign to stop. That is a sign to continue, because the people meant for you will never require you to disappear to be loved. True connection cannot be built on half-truths and rehearsed performances. It is forged in the fire of vulnerability, in the courage to say, this is who I am, without the edits. That kind of connection cannot be lost because it was never earned through compromise. It was revealed through honesty. You may think reclaiming your voice means becoming louder, but often it means becoming more honest. Not louder, just clearer. Not more forceful, just more aligned. You begin to speak less to be heard and more to be real. You no longer throw your truth at the world like a weapon, but offer it as a light, steady, unwavering, enough. And even when the world resists, even when the silence around you feels deafening, your voice continues to rise, not from the throat, but from the soul. And in that sacred rising, you begin to realize something profound. You were never truly afraid of rejection. You were afraid of remembering how powerful your voice actually is. Because when you reclaim the voice you silenced, you do more than speak differently. You live differently, you choose differently, you love differently. You are no longer content with proximity that requires pretense. You seek depth, resonance, realness. You seek the sacred because you have become it. You begin to walk differently, not in arrogance, but in alignment. Not in performance, but in presence. Not in the need to prove, but in the knowing that your existence is already proof of something divine. Your truth becomes your compass. Your soul becomes your script. And the world, once terrifying, becomes a stage on which you no longer perform, but create. There is no greater revolution than a human being who stops performing and starts living. No greater rebellion than to love yourself out loud. No greater power than the soul finally speaking in its native tongue, unfiltered, unashamed, unafraid. And the miracle is this: you were never waiting for the world to give you permission. You were waiting for yourself to stop apologizing, to stop shrinking, to stop translating your spirit into something safer. To stop rehearsing lines that were never yours to begin with. This is the moment you become real again. Not the version of you that gained applause. Not the version that fit the mold. Not the version that adapted to survive. But the version that burns with the original flame of your being. When you live from that fire, something holy happens. You begin to see the divine in everything. You hear the voice of God not only in Scripture, but in your own intuition. You feel grace not only in temples, but in your breath. You experience freedom not as escape, but as embodiment. And that voice, the one you silenced, becomes your guide. It does not scream. It does not argue. It does not explain itself to those who do not wish to understand. It simply radiates. It simply exists. It simply is. And in that isness, you find the peace you've been seeking in every external approval. You realize that you were never broken, only buried. Never lost, only waiting. Never voiceless, only quieted. You were always here. And now you are home. When the voice of your truth returns, it doesn't demand the world bow before it. It doesn't need to. Its presence alone realigns the atmosphere. It changes the way you walk into a room, not with dominance, but with rootedness. Not with superiority, but with sovereignty. Because you're no longer performing to be seen. You're already grounded in the truth that you are worthy, with or without applause, with or without agreement, with or without anyone's understanding. And isn't that the liberation your soul has longed for? Not to be louder, but to be unafraid. Not to be more palatable, but to be real. Not to blend in, but to finally belong not to them, but to yourself. Because self-belonging is the beginning of every miracle. It is the threshold through which all healing walks. And it begins not with changing who you are, but with remembering who you were before you were asked to hide. You see, every time you silenced yourself to make others comfortable, you planted a seed of resentment in the garden of your spirit. And now the weeds have grown wild, but they are not your enemy. They are your signal. A signal that says, it's time to clear the field. It's time to replant what is true. It's time to stop tending to the expectations of others and start watering the truth of your own soul. And the truth is not always clean. It's not always neat. Sometimes it's messy, emotional, inconvenient. But truth is not supposed to be convenient. It's supposed to be liberating. And sometimes liberation comes with shaking. Sometimes it comes with shedding. Sometimes it comes with solitude. But it always comes with peace. The peace of knowing you're no longer negotiating your identity. The peace of knowing you're no longer censoring your spirit. The peace of knowing that the sacred frequency of your soul is no longer being muffled beneath the noise of trying to be acceptable. You were not made to be acceptable. You were made to be alive, fully, radically, unapologetically. And when you reclaim your voice, you don't just speak differently, you become different. You start listening not to the world's commands, but to your inner knowing. You stop chasing validation and begin standing in vibration. You begin choosing people, spaces, and purposes that don't require you to edit your being. And in doing so, you become a living prayer, an embodiment of divine remembrance. The world may not always know what to do with someone who lives like this, but you will. You'll know. You'll feel it in your bones, in your breath, in the stillness between your words that you finally return to yourself. And that return is the most sacred journey you will ever take. Not to a place, but to a presence. Not to a role, but to your realness. Not to an identity, but to your essence. Your essence is not what others say about you. It's not your title. It's not your role in the family or society. Your essence is the eternal fire within you that knows, I am. I am not what I do. I am not what they expect. I am not what I've been told. I am what I am, and that is enough. You do not need a platform to speak from your truth. You need permission from no one but your own heart. And when your heart opens its mouth, the universe listens. Because when you speak from alignment, your voice echoes in realms you cannot see. You become a vessel for something greater. Your words begin to heal, not because they're perfect, but because they're real. The child in you who was once silenced starts to breathe again. The parts of you that were punished for being different begin to dance again. The versions of you that were buried under layers of performance and pain start rising, radiant and whole, ready to live again. This is not a rebellion, it's a rebirth. And you are the midwife of your own becoming. There will be days when the old silence tries to return, when fear knocks softly, pretending to be safety, when you'll be tempted to go back into the box just to feel loved. But remember this, false love requires you to abandon yourself. Real love asks you to return, and returning is always louder than retreating, even when no one else hears it. So when the old voices whisper, tone it down, you will whisper back, I was not born to be an echo. When they say, don't be so emotional, you will smile and say, emotion is the language of the divine. When they say, you've changed, you will answer, yes, I've remembered. Because the path of remembering always looks like rebellion to those who've forgotten. And still, you walk it with grace, with clarity, with the unshakable knowing that your voice is not too much, it is medicine. Medicine for the soul that starved in silence. Medicine for the heart that forgot how to beat freely. Medicine for the world that has forgotten the sound of authenticity. And every time you speak from this space, not perform but speak, you offer that medicine to others. Some will turn away. That's okay. Medicine doesn't always taste sweet, but others will weep. Others will awaken. Others will finally hear their own voice calling from the depths saying, if they can speak, so can I. And that is the miracle of your return. It is never just yours. Your voice becomes the tuning fork of a greater harmony. Your courage becomes the crack in someone else's cage. Your authenticity becomes the permission they didn't know they were waiting for. You begin to see you didn't lose your voice, you loaned it to fear, to approval, to control. And now you are calling it back with reverence, with certainty, with love. And when you call it back, it does not come alone. It brings with it your power, your intuition, your freedom, your divinity. Because your voice was never just about words, it was always the portal to your wholeness. And as that wholeness returns, something within you softens, not because you've become weak, but because you've become true. You are no longer fighting to be heard in a world that doesn't listen. You are finally listening to yourself. And that, in the deepest spiritual sense, is all you ever truly needed. It was never about volume. It was never about attention. It was always about truth. The truth that had been living inside of you all along, pressed down beneath layers of politeness, self-doubt, conditioning, and fear. The truth that once scared you because if you lived it, it might mean losing people. But now you understand, if your truth cost you someone, they were never really with you. They were with your silence. And how sacred is it to know that you no longer need to wear that silence as your disguise? The world has taught you to trade authenticity for approval, but your soul has always known the cost. The fatigue you've felt is not just from doing too much, it's from being too little of who you really are. There is no exhaustion like the exhaustion of pretending. There is no ache like the ache of hiding. And there is no freedom like the moment you stop. Stop hiding. Stop apologizing. Stop morphing into someone smaller just to fit inside the spaces others have carved for you. You were never meant to fit, you were meant to expand. You were never meant to be agreeable, you were meant to be aligned. You were never meant to be a reflection of someone else's comfort, you were meant to be a revelation of your own truth. And that truth may not be welcome everywhere, but it will feel like home within you. You'll begin to see that the places where your truth isn't safe are not sacred. They are assignments you've outgrown. They are invitations to return inward, not reasons to retreat again into silence. Every environment that asks you to abandon your voice is simply showing you where you no longer need to go. So you stop seeking to belong to rooms that were never built with your soul in mind. You stop trying to be loved for a version of yourself that doesn't exist. You stop auditioning, and in that stopping, you begin living. You begin waking up differently. Not rushing into the day to prove something, but rising with reverence for the sacred task of being yourself. You begin walking into conversations not with the fear of being misunderstood, but with the peace of being honest. You begin releasing the need to be right and embracing the joy of being real. And when you are real, you are magnetic. Not to everyone, but to the ones who matter. The ones who see your voice not as a threat, but as a mirror. The ones who meet your truth with presence, not resistance. The ones who remind you that your sacred sound belongs not because they approve of it, but because it is part of the symphony of existence itself. The world has enough echoes. It's craving originals. And you, in your truth, your light, your voice, are an original note in the divine orchestra of this life. You don't need to harmonize with distortion. You need only to vibrate with clarity. Your clarity is your offering. Your voice is your gift. And that gift does not need to be wrapped in perfection. It simply needs to be real. Because when you speak from the place of inner alignment, there is a resonance, not in the ears, but in the hearts of others. The words may fall from your lips, but their true source is the soul. And the soul speaks a language that transcends approval. You begin to live not from script, but from source. Not from expectation, but from essence. Not from what is safe, but from what is sacred. This is what it means to reclaim your voice. To no longer filter your light through the lens of other people's comfort. To no longer barter your expression for acceptance. To no longer wait for someone else to say, it's okay. Because now, finally, you are the one who says, I am safe to be me. And with that declaration, the world changes. Not always externally, but profoundly within. You begin to remember that your voice is not just your own, it is the breath of the infinite moving through form. It is the echo of the divine speaking itself into existence again and again through you. And when you deny it, you don't just silence yourself, you muffle a piece of the universe. You are not just reclaiming your voice for your own healing. You are reclaiming it for the healing of everything. Because your truth creates space for truth. Your authenticity liberates more than just your soul. It becomes a ripple, a vibration, a song that invites other souls to join in. And that is what the world is truly starving for. Not more noise, but more truth. Not more followers, but more leaders of the soul. Not more conformity, but more courageous beings who dare to be exactly who they are, loudly, lovingly, luminously. And you, dear one, are that being. You are not returning to your voice for validation. You are returning for liberation. Not just yours, but ours. And now, here you are, standing at the threshold of everything you silenced. Not broken, but breaking through. Not wounded, but wide open. Not lost, but arriving to the home within yourself that was never gone, only waiting to be remembered. This moment is not the beginning, nor is it the end. It is the great return, the divine reunion between your inner truth and your outer life. The voice you buried has become the key to your liberation, and you now hold it in your hands not as a weapon, but as a compass, and with it you no longer need to fight. You only need to follow. Follow the truth that no longer asks, will they approve? Follow the stillness that no longer begs for applause. Follow the knowing that says you belong not when you're perfect, but when you're present. Because the journey was never about becoming anything. It was about unbecoming the noise, unlearning the stories, unraveling the shame, until only the truth remained whole, holy, and humming with life. You may be tempted to ask, what now? But the better question is, who am I without the silence? And the answer is not something you will find in books or mirrors or voices outside yourself. The answer is what you are becoming as you speak, as you breathe, as you reclaim the space your soul always deserved. You are no longer just someone navigating the world. You are someone creating it from within. Your voice is not a reaction. It is a revelation. It does not shout over the noise. It outshines it. You are not a performer now. You are a presence, a light so rooted in its source that it no longer flickers in the wind of other people's opinions. And in this presence, everything transforms. You begin to walk differently, not for attention, but from alignment. You begin to love differently, not from need, but from fullness. You begin to choose differently, not to avoid discomfort, but to honor truth. You realize that being accepted by others means nothing if it costs you acceptance of yourself. You no longer need to mold yourself to fit. You no longer try to shrink into someone's comfort zone. You see now, clearly, irrevocably, that anything that requires the betrayal of your voice is a detour, not a destiny. There will still be days of doubt. That's not failure, that's healing. There will still be moments when the old silence tries to seduce you. That's not regression, that's memory. But now, you are different. Now, you recognize the voice of truth even when it whispers. Now, you honor the sacredness of your own yes and the holiness of your no. Now, you live from the inside out, not because it's easy, but because it's the only path that doesn't cost your soul. And what a life that becomes. Not a perfect life, not always a comfortable life, but a true one. And in the end, when all the performances fall away, when all the costumes and roles dissolve, what will remain is not how well you were liked, but how fully you lived as yourself. Your voice is your divine signature. It is the mark your soul makes on the world. It is not here to please. It is here to free. And the moment you trust that, you step into the most sacred kind of power, the power of a human being who no longer needs to be anything but whole. So walk on. Speak gently. Speak boldly. Speak honestly. Not to be heard, but to be healed. And in that healing, may others remember their own voice, the one they silenced, the one they buried, the one they are now being called to reclaim. Because the world doesn't need another echo. It needs your truth. And your truth has waited long enough. Welcome home. Welcome back to the sound of your soul. Welcome back to the fullness of your being. You are not just allowed to speak, you were born to. Now speak. And let the world remember what it means to be real. We begin with the most profound and essential truth. You are already whole, already complete, and already enough. The world may attempt to convince you otherwise, whispering in your ear that you must become something more, that you must shrink yourself to fit into the boxes it has created for you. But here, in the deepest recesses of your soul, you know the truth. You are not meant to shrink, to minimize, or to diminish yourself to meet the standards of a world that cannot even comprehend the vastness of your potential. The truth, dear soul, is that your destiny is not to become someone else, but to become more fully and completely who you already are. The world around you is constantly changing, constantly shifting, offering you opportunities to become small, to fit into molds, to conform to the expectations of others. But I am here to remind you of something far greater. You are not meant to shrink to fit into this world. You are meant to expand into the fullest expression of who you are, to shine brightly, to belong, not because you have diminished yourself, but because you have fully embraced your own magnificence. When you shrink yourself, you are living a lie. You are living in a space that is not your own. You are adjusting your being to meet the false expectations of others, trading your authenticity for approval, your power for acceptance. But listen to the voice deep within you. It is time to let go of that lie. It is time to step into the truth that you do not need anyone's permission to be your fullest self. You do not need to shrink, diminish, or apologize for your brilliance. Your soul is not here to play small. Your soul is here to dance boldly and freely, to express the divine essence that flows within you. You were not created to blend into the shadows, to become invisible, or to hide in corners. You were created to stand tall, to expand into the greatness of your being, to show the world who you are, unapologetically, fearlessly, and powerfully. Now, understand this. The process of expanding to belong is not an easy one. It requires courage. the courage to let go of the past and all the false stories you have been told. It requires the courage to release the need for external validation, the need for others to tell you who you are and what you are worth. It requires the courage to walk away from what is familiar, what is comfortable, and step into the unknown, knowing that the path ahead is one of your own creation. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. It is the path of the warrior, the one who refuses to settle for anything less than their truth. It is the journey of the awakened soul who no longer seeks approval, who no longer believes in the lies that they have been fed, but instead stands firmly in the belief that they are worthy of their dreams, their desires, and their limitless potential. And so the first step in expanding to belong is releasing the past. You cannot move forward if you are constantly looking over your shoulder, holding on to the weight of past mistakes, past disappointments, and past failures. These are not your truths. They are simply experiences that have shaped you, but they do not define you. The person you were yesterday is not the person you are today, and it is not the person you are becoming. To release the past, you must forgive yourself. You must release the judgments you have placed upon yourself for not being enough, for not doing enough, for not living up to some illusory standard of perfection. You are not here to be perfect, dear one. You are here to be real. You are here to be authentic. And in your authenticity, in your willingness to be vulnerable, to be imperfect, you will find your true power. The second step in expanding to belong is shifting your mindset. The world tells you that you must hustle, that you must work harder, push further, strive more. But I am here to tell you that true belonging, true peace, true success comes not from striving, but from surrender. It comes from knowing that the universe is not something you have to fight against, but something you are already in harmony with. You do not need to compete for your place in this world, for your place has already been set. You do not need to chase after approval, for you are already approved by the divine. When you surrender to this truth, when you stop trying to fit into the world's expectations and instead expand into your own truth, you will find that you belong exactly where you are, exactly as you are. You will stop trying to prove your worth, and instead you will begin to feel the inherent value that you have always held. You are worthy simply because you exist, because you are a divine expression of love, of light, of infinite potential. The third step is to embrace your uniqueness. There is no one else in the world like you. You were not created to fit into someone else's mold. You were not created to follow someone else's path. You were created to walk your own path, to follow your own heart, and to trust in your own intuition. The world needs your gifts, your talents, your perspective. The world does not need another copy. It needs the original version of you in all your glory. Too often we shrink ourselves because we fear standing out. We fear being different, being seen, being judged. But let me tell you this, when you shrink yourself, when you hide your light, you are depriving the world of the very thing it needs. You are depriving yourself of the joy, the fulfillment, and the connection that comes from living authentically. So I ask you, are you ready to expand? Are you ready to let go of the fear, the doubt, and the need for approval? Are you ready to step fully into your divine power and claim your place in this world, not as a diminished version of yourself, but as the grand, powerful, and limitless being you were always meant to be? When you expand to belong, you do not seek validation from others because you no longer need it. You belong to yourself. You belong to the universe. You belong to the divine flow of life that moves through all things. And in this belonging, in this deep and unshakable knowing that you are enough, you will find the peace, the fulfillment, and the joy that you have been searching for. This is your truth, dear one. You do not need to shrink to fit into a world that does not understand your light. You are meant to shine, to rise, and to expand. And as you do, you will see that you do not have to chase belonging For belonging will come naturally, effortlessly, as you step into the fullness of who you are. You are already enough. You are already worthy. And you have the power, the strength, and the courage to expand into the greatness that is your birthright. So, let go of the past, release the need for approval, embrace your unique gifts, and step boldly into the world as the magnificent being you were always meant to be. You do not need to shrink to fit. You are meant to expand to belong. And as you expand, you will discover that the world has always been waiting for you to step into your greatness. Now, go forth, dear one, and let your light shine. Let it shine not because you are seeking validation, but because you are remembering who you truly are. You are not just a part of this world, you are the world itself, infinite, expansive, and filled with possibility. Expand to belong. The world is waiting for you to show up. You see, dear soul, there is a force within you, an energy so vast, so powerful, that it could never be contained by the limitations of the world's expectations. It is the same force that flows through the universe, that connects each star in the sky, each ripple in the ocean, each moment of life. This force, this energy is your true essence, your divine inheritance. It is the spark of creation itself, flowing through you, guiding you, calling you to rise above the noise of the world and to step into the truth of who you are. This truth, however, does not come from the outside. It does not come from the approval of others, nor from external validation. It comes from the quiet space within, from the sacred whispers of your soul, from that still point of infinite knowing that you have always had access to. The truth that you seek is not somewhere out there waiting for you to find it. No, it is already within you, patiently awaiting your recognition, your acceptance. So often, we are taught to look outside ourselves for answers. We search the world, we search the people around us for clues, for signs, for directions. We seek approval, affirmation, and guidance, believing that someone else holds the key to our peace, our happiness, our success. But I am here to remind you of something that you already know. Deep within you are the key. You have always been the key. The answers you seek are already written in the stars within you. They are already encoded in the deepest chambers of your heart. And the moment you begin to trust in this truth, the moment you begin to listen to your own soul, you will find that the world begins to rearrange itself in alignment with your highest purpose. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are simply awakening to the truth of who you are. And with this awakening comes the power to heal, to transform, and to expand in ways you never thought possible. When you allow yourself to expand, to fully embody your truth, you are not simply creating change in your own life. You are contributing to the evolution of the entire universe. You are a divine instrument of change, a powerful force of creation. Every time you step into your authentic self, every time you choose to let go of the need to shrink, you are healing not just yourself, but the world around you. You are healing the collective consciousness, lifting the energy of the entire planet. You are a living embodiment of divine possibility. But this requires courage. It requires a willingness to face the unknown, to walk away from the familiar, to surrender the need for certainty. The truth of who you are is not something that can be grasped with the mind. It is not something that can be logically understood, explained, or proven. It is something that must be felt, something that must be experienced in the deepest chambers of your being. And so you must trust. You must trust that the universe is guiding you. You must trust that the path before you is not a random series of events, but a carefully orchestrated sequence of moments designed to bring you into alignment with your highest self. Every experience, every challenge, every setback, every triumph is a part of this grand design. Nothing is by accident. Everything is part of the plan. As you release the need to control, to force outcomes, to manipulate situations, you will find that life begins to flow more effortlessly. The resistance you have carried for so long will begin to dissolve. The weight of expectation, the weight of fear, the weight of self-doubt will lift, and you will feel lighter, freer, more expansive than you ever have before. And in this freedom, you will discover that true peace does not come from external circumstances, but from within. It comes from the quiet, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, that you are always in the right place at the right time. There is no need to rush. There is no need to worry. There is only the present moment unfolding in perfect harmony with your soul's deepest desires. When you expand into your true self, you no longer need to compare yourself to others. You no longer need to measure your worth by the standards of the world. You are not here to be like anyone else. You are not here to fit into a mold or to live someone else's dream. You are here to live your own unique, extraordinary life. You are here to blaze your own trail, to create your own legacy, and to leave a mark on this world that is as unique as your soul's blueprint. And when you live from this place of authenticity, of alignment with your true self, you will begin to attract everything you need, people, opportunities, experiences into your life. The universe will mirror back to you the energy you radiate. If you radiate love, you will attract love. If you radiate peace, you will attract peace. If you radiate confidence, you will attract confidence. This is the law of attraction at work, not as a magical formula, but as a natural consequence of living in harmony with your true nature. You see, when you are fully in alignment with your authentic self, when you are fully expanded into your divine potential, you become magnetic. You become a beacon of light, drawing everything you need to you effortlessly. You do not have to chase after your desires. You do not have to fight for them. You do not have to prove your worth. You simply need to be. Be who you truly are, and the world will come to you. This is the beauty of expanding to belong. You do not have to change yourself to fit in. You do not have to make yourself smaller to be accepted. You do not have to sacrifice your truth to gain approval. Instead, you expand into the fullness of your being, and in that expansion, you will find that you are already home. You belong exactly as you are. There is no need to compete, no need to compare, no need to prove yourself. You belong because you exist. You belong because you are a divine expression of life itself. You belong because the universe created you with a purpose, with a plan, and with a light that is meant to shine brightly. So, as you step into the fullness of who you are, as you expand to belong, remember that you are not alone. You are never alone. You are always connected to the infinite, to the source of all that is, to the divine flow of life that moves through everything. And in that connection, in that knowing, you will find the courage, the strength, and the peace to continue your journey, to continue expanding, and to continue becoming the person you were always meant to be. And as you expand, as you step into your greatness, know that you are not just doing this for yourself. You are doing this for the world. You are doing this for humanity. You are doing this for the collective consciousness. Every time you expand into the truth of who you are, you help raise the vibration of the entire planet. You help to heal the collective wounds, to elevate the energy, to bring more love, more light, more peace into the world. So do not shrink to fit. Expand to belong. Expand to claim your place in this world. Expand to show the world what true power, true peace, and true love look like. Expand to become the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. And in that expansion, you will discover that you do not need to chase belonging, for you have always belonged. The universe has been waiting for you to remember this truth. And now, as you expand, you will see that the world has been waiting for you all along. As you expand, dear soul, the universe becomes more than just a space you occupy. It is no longer a series of random events or disconnected pieces. It transforms into an intricate web of relationships, opportunities, and experiences that are specifically tailored to guide you on your soul's journey. There is no such thing as coincidence. Every moment, every encounter is part of
the grand design meant to bring you back into alignment with your divine self. But here lies the beauty: when you expand into your true self, you no longer have to search for meaning or validation outside of you. You stop searching for answers in the external world and start finding them within. You are no longer lost, no longer grasping for something that eludes you. Instead, you become a conscious co-creator with the universe, intentionally aligning your thoughts, actions, and energy with the flow of life. This is not about forcing or striving. It is about trust. It is about surrendering to the flow of the universe, knowing that everything you need is already on its way to you. As you let go of the need to control, the universe begins to flow through you effortlessly. Doors open, opportunities arise. People enter your life who resonate with your energy. Situations unfold in ways you could never have imagined, and yet they feel perfectly aligned with your soul's deepest desires. Let go of the belief that you must work harder or push further to achieve. Let go of the idea that life is a struggle to be won. Life is not a battle to be fought. It is a dance to be embraced. When you align with your true nature, life becomes a beautiful, effortless flow. The only effort required is the effort to release the need for struggle. The only work you need to do is the inner work of letting go, of resistance, of opening your heart, of trusting the path that unfolds before you. And let me remind you, the path may not always be easy. There will be moments of challenge, moments where you feel uncertain or afraid, but this is part of the process. These moments are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are signs that you are growing, evolving, and expanding. They are the universe's way of showing you where you still hold resistance, where you are still attached to limiting beliefs, where you are still holding on to fear. And each time you face these moments with courage and trust, you will find yourself shedding layers of the old self, the false self, the self that was built on fear and scarcity, and emerging into the fullness of who you truly are. You will learn that there is nothing to fear. There is only the present moment, the moment that is always full of infinite possibilities. In each breath, you are given the opportunity to choose again, to choose love, to choose trust, to choose expansion. And with each conscious choice, you create your reality, one thought at a time. As you continue to expand, you will begin to see the world with new eyes. You will no longer see a world of limitation and lack. Instead, you will see a world of abundance and possibility. You will understand that the universe is not something separate from you, but that it is you and you are it. The same energy that created the stars, the planets, and the galaxies is the same energy that flows through you. You are not separate from this vastness. You are a part of it, an extension of it. And as you step into your true self, you will begin to feel the immense power and beauty that resides within you. You are the embodiment of the divine, and as such, you are capable of creating miracles in your life. But these miracles are not about bending the world to your will. They are about aligning with the flow of divine energy and allowing it to move through you. The miracles are not outside of you. They are the natural result of living in alignment with your true self. As you expand, you will notice that the people around you begin to shift as well. You will begin to attract those who resonate with your energy, those who support and uplift you, those who reflect back the beauty and power that you have come to recognize in yourself. The relationships that once felt draining or disconnected will begin to transform. You will no longer settle for relationships that do not honor your true self. You will no longer allow others to diminish your light. And in turn, you will inspire others to do the same. Your expansion will be contagious. As you step into your truth, you will show others that they too are capable of doing the same. You will awaken the divine within them, reminding them of their own limitless potential. The more you expand, the more you help others expand, and together, you will create a world where authenticity, love, and truth are the foundation of all human interaction. This is what it means to live in harmony with your true self. It means knowing that you do not need to shrink to fit into the world's standards. You belong not because you fit in, but because you are willing to stand out as the unique and powerful being you are always meant to be. You expand, not for others, but for yourself. You expand because your soul is calling you to And in this expansion, you will find not only your true self, but a deep sense of belonging that cannot be shaken because it is not dependent on anyone else's approval. The world will not always understand your expansion, but that does not matter. It is not for the world to understand, it is for you to live it. And as you live it, you will begin to see that you are exactly where you are meant to be. You will begin to feel the deep peace that comes from knowing that you are not here to please anyone. You are here to fulfill your own soul's purpose, to expand into the fullness of your divine essence, and to show the world the beauty that comes from living in alignment with your true nature. So let go. Let go of the fear, let go of the doubts, let go of the limiting beliefs that tell you that you are not enough, that you are not worthy, that you must shrink to fit in. Step into your greatness. Step into your truth. Step into the light that has always been within you. And as you do, you will find that you are not alone, for the universe will walk with you every step of the way. In the end, it is not about fitting in. It is about expanding to belong, not because you have conformed, but because you have embraced your true self. You are not here to shrink. You are here to expand, to rise, and to shine brightly for the world to see. And as you expand, you will find that you belong not because of what you have done, but because of who you are. And this, dear soul, is the greatest gift you can give yourself, the gift of being fully, authentically, and beautifully you. The world is waiting for you to step into your greatness. Will you? As we approach the final moments of this journey, it is important to ground ourselves in the deep, transformative realization that you have always been whole, always been worthy, and always been enough. The external world may have tried to convince you otherwise, but the truth of who you are cannot be altered by the opinions of others or the limitations of the past. The truth is simple yet profoundly powerful. You are a divine being, an expression of pure love and light, here to expand, to grow, and to fulfill the purpose that has been written in your soul long before you were born. As you continue on this path of self-expansion, you will find that it is not about becoming someone else, nor is it about attaining something you do not already possess. It is about remembering who you truly are, remembering the infinite potential that lies dormant within you, waiting for the moment when you choose to awaken to it. It is about shedding the layers of fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs that have kept you small, and allowing the fullness of your divine essence to emerge. And as you allow yourself to expand, as you allow yourself to step into the fullness of your being, you will begin to see the world with new eyes. You will no longer see obstacles, you will see opportunities. You will no longer see limitations, you will see possibilities. And you will no longer see yourself as separate from the universe, you will see yourself as a vital, integral part of it. A part of the grand design, the divine expression of creation, here to contribute to the beauty, the love, and the light that are the essence of life itself. But remember this, the path to expansion is not a straight line. It is not a path of perfection. There will be times when you stumble, when you question yourself, when you feel uncertain, and that's okay. The very act of expansion requires vulnerability. It requires the courage to face the unknown, to walk through the darkness, and trust that the light will emerge on the other side. It is in these moments of uncertainty that you are given the opportunity to grow the most, to release the fears that have held you back, and to step into a new level of understanding and awareness. This is the path of the awakened soul. It is the path of surrender, of trust, of love. It is the path of aligning your thoughts, your actions, and your energy with the truth of who you are, not who the world says you should be, but who your soul knows you to be. And as you walk this path, you will find that the universe begins to align with you. Doors will open, opportunities will present themselves, and you will be led to people and experiences that resonate with your highest truth. You do not need to chase after these things. You do not need to force them into being. They will come to you as naturally as the breath you take when you align with your true self. And in this alignment, you will find that the world begins to mirror back the very energy that you are radiating an energy of love, of peace, of authenticity. The more you expand, the more you allow yourself to embody your true nature, the more you will experience the freedom that comes with knowing you are enough, exactly as you are. There is nothing you need to do to earn your place in this world. You already belong. Your mere existence is a gift, a miracle, and the universe is constantly supporting you in living your most expansive and authentic life. So, I ask you once again, are you ready? Are you ready to step into the fullness of who you are? Are you ready to expand, to let go of the fear, and to embrace the infinite potential that is already within you? You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand out, to rise up, and to be the light in a world that needs it. You are here to expand into your truest self, and in that expansion, you will discover that you are not only enough, but you are everything. You are the beginning and the end, the light and the love, the infinite potential of the universe unfolding in human form. The world is waiting for you to shine, waiting for you to step into your power and claim your place in the grand design. The moment has arrived, dear soul. It is time to expand. It is time to rise. It is time to be who you truly are. And as you do, you will discover that the world will embrace you, not because you have become someone else, but because you have become fully, completely, and unapologetically you. You are already enough. You always have been. Now, step into your greatness, expand to belong. The universe is waiting for you to show up. You are the light. You are the love. You are the power. And you belong not because you fit in, but because you are exactly who you were always meant to be. Expand, dear soul, and let the world see you shine.